Let's start with Martin Bakole and some of the stuff that's been going on around him recently. We've spent a lot of time on this show over the last few months campaigning for Bakole because we get to see him in terms of not perhaps getting the opportunities that he perhaps could get because people are avoiding him. Where are you on the Bakole rise and what you think he can and can't do?
I think he's a tremendous talent. He's the biggest threat in the heavyweight division.
That's what we think.
Yep.
I think he's kryptonite for Dubois. He's kryptonite for... Yeah, I think he's kryptonite for... ironically enough, I think he's going to be a major issue for Usyk if he gets round to getting in position to fight for that title. I think he's a real problem. He's just 6'6", 280 pounds, varies between 256, 280. He is fast hands. He's not a dynamite puncher, got a rock-solid chin, walks you down, throws volume, and I just think he's going to be...
So why does that make him kryptonite for Dubois?
Simply because he can take a great shot. If you hit somebody flat out in the chin, Simon, and he doesn't go down, you know, your sphincter starts going at 100 miles an hour. You know, that sounds rude, I'm sorry. But you know what it's like, Spencer.
Listen.
You hit somebody flat out in the chin and it just bounces off them and they walk forward. It's like, it's the most horrible situation.
But has he been hit by anybody that hits as hard as Dubois?
Yeah, oh, he has, yeah.
Has he?
Yeah, I mean, he sparred loads and loads of rounds at Dubois. Yeah, right. and he knows what Dubois' power is like. But here, I'm not wiping out Dubois. I think Dubois has matured. I think he's getting better. I think his conditioning is getting better. I think he realizes the one thing he's got to be, more than anything else, he's got to be able to throw volume, punches volume for 12 rounds.
I think what Bakole brings to the table, which maybe some other heavyweights don't do, is that, you know, he's got a great judgment of distance, and that distance creates a timing, which is speed and the power, and that fluidity around his punches. Like you say, Barry, he's not dynamite one punch, but just the rhythm of the shots, and he's like works on the inside with the uppercuts. He brings something slightly different. That's why I think he's a threat to any of the other heavyweights out there.
Well, we've been campaigning on this, haven't we? We've been talking about it. Billy Nelson will, of course, tell us that he's the best thing since sliced bread, and we've been discussing it. But you obviously spoke to Martin Bakole over the weekend, so let's have a listen to what he had to say to you.
Do you think that we see Anthony Joshua back in the ring anytime soon? Or...
I think he will come here. I think so. But I think big fight is waiting for him in Africa, so he should stay out. No, sorry about that. He should stay outside the ring. Keep working hard because my fight against him in Africa is a big fight.
When are you hoping that will happen?
I think it will happen in the Congo because that's where they destroy. So that's my medal for a month fight has. So we need to fight in the same stadium. I think it's going to be in the Congo.
And that will be in the same venue, the same arena?
Yeah, of course, yeah. He mentioned himself. It's going to be.
Are you hoping that's going to happen this summer?
I think it will, because Excellency say he wants to see that fight in Africa. My fingers crossed, I think I'll get that.
Right, boys, you've heard it here. The fight is happening in Africa in the summer. Anthony Joshua and Martin Bakole. On that note, back over to you. Ben, how are you doing, my friend?
The promoter of Martin Bakole. That's what I want to be known as.
Listen, we've just done Martin Bakole, and Martin Bakole's just said...
#1 heavyweight in the world.
He's just told us, he's just leaked the news. Him and Anthony Joshua, Africa, in the summer, it's going to happen.
It's done, it's done. I'm hearing he's signed and we're off to the Congo.
So both Martin and his promoter, Ben Shalom, are saying this fight is on. And obviously for Ben Shalom, this is a huge opportunity to break into the heavyweights because Frank Warren and Eddie have had that monopoly. Where I can see the fight from Bakole's point of view because we've discussed Bakole and the opportunity that he wants to create for himself. But if you're part of Anthony Joshua's team, where's your thought process in this one?
Well, if I was managing Anthony Joshua, I wouldn't go near Martin Bakole. Absolutely not. I mean, there's only, and again, I'm being presumptuous, but there is only probably another 4 fights in Joshua. And the reality is he needs to fight for the title, or if not fight for the title, fight. I think a great fight would be him and Fury. That's a great fight.
We all know that because of the economics. But if we are led to believe what we're led to believe now...
What is that?
Which is that this fight between Bakole and Anthony Joshua is scheduled for the summer. Right?
Well, no, I think it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek. I think they're just trying to push for that. And as a promoter
So
and as a fighter... Well, listen, it's not a done deal yet, is it? But what he was saying there, Martin Bakole, was that Turki Al-Sheikh told him that he wants him to box in the summer out in Africa. Martin Bakole's been pushing for the fight with Anthony Joshua. And by the way, Joshua, when you're talking about Joshua, where he's at in his career right now, yeah, he's been a 2-time world heavyweight champion. He's achieved everything, British, Commonwealth titles. So Joshua himself is saying, it's not now about, avoid Martin Bakole. He said, if I can create history, recreate history...
Doesn't make sense.
...and go back out to Africa... Yeah, but what he's saying is he feels that he's up for any challenge. So, yeah, like you say, the management side of things...
With due respect, you're talking about an event that happened
about
in 1974 between Muhammad Ali, the greatest fighter of all time, against the beast of that particular time, George Foreman.
Yeah.
So we're now... and that was for a world title.
Yeah.
This is for something...
That's an ideal.
It's an ideal.
It's an ideal, but it's not... There's nothing in concrete. He would love that to happen.
Yeah.
The reality is, we've got Usyk, we've got Dubois, who are the two champions, and they've got a number of challengers, and they've got to clear that way. Parker's a very difficult fight for Dubois. I think he wins this time, Dubois. I think Dubois will knock him out late on in the fight. Yeah. I think Usyk, that's all up in the air. What's going to happen with Usyk? Usyk beats anybody now, but I have to tell you, I think that Dubois' second time round is a very, very dangerous fight.
So do
for Usyk.
I agree. Yeah. Where are you with the Joshua phenomenon? I mean, the thread we're pulling at is this idea that he's going to fight Bakole. And just indulge it for a second. You and I spoke about a year ago on Up Front, where we talked about Joshua and the idea that ultimately that he was possibly no longer in that space where he wanted to put himself in the way of the jeopardy of boxing in the same way that he once did before. Yeah. And then obviously he went for this period where he fought Franklin, he fought Hellenius, he fought Otto Wallin, and he cleaned out the MMA fighter, which Fury should have done, and brought the sport of boxing into a little bit of disrepute by not dealing with Ngannou the way he should have done. So, Joshua, were you surprised when he got beaten the way he did by Dubois at Wembley? Because everyone thought it was going to be an anointment. And do you think there's any coming back for Joshua at the elite level? Yeah,
no, look, first of all, we got Dubois over the line. He won the world title against Trevor Bryant out in Florida, in Miami, under Shane's guidance. And then there was a family dispute and he left. And that's something, it's a personal thing, it's none of my business. I'm not going to talk about it and discuss it. But he was always kryptonite for Anthony Joshua. He was always, it was rumours that he'd knocked him out up in Sheffield in the High Performance Centre. He'd knocked him out in sparring. Not knocked him down, but knocked him out. That's the difference. The sparring then ended. So he's got the power to knock anybody out.
Let's deal with Dubois in isolation, because we're going to talk about him later on the show, but I want to talk about Joshua, more about Joshua.
Yeah, if I were Joshua, right, if I were Joshua, I would only want to fight for the title.
Right.
If the title's not on the line, Fury, if I were him, and I know he's not a guy that needs money, he's not a guy that's desperate for fights. He knows there's only a caption of time that he's got left, very small capture of time, and he's got to take advantage of that. And when he wants to fight again, he wants to fight for the title. He wants to have the opportunity to win it for a third time. And
who do you see that against, though, Barry?
That's what I'm saying.
This is the thing. We've got Usyk now that's probably in the last 12, 18 months of his career.
I would agree.
May have another fight, maybe two.
Yeah.
So what is the roadmap for Anthony Joshua? And like you say now, it's all about, does he want to create legacies, histories, or is he looking to become three-time world heavyweight champion? That's what I'm saying.
But there isn't, is there?
No, but that was my point,
He can't beat Dubois.
That's my point. If you say...
We know he can't beat Usyk.
Right, so if you say he can't win the world heavyweight title for the third time, that's my point. Let's go
What's the point in hanging on?
Back in Africa. Like, what he's saying is he wants to be remembered for taking the fights and not ducking anyone. Anthony Joshua's that guy.
So that's the case that you're making for the Bakole fight?
Absolutely, yeah.
Right. So Anthony Joshua puts, just out of curiosity, and we're ruminating on this for the point of hypothesis.
That's what we're doing, because it's only speculation. We're seeing what we
I can't see him going in with Bakole. I've got a bet with him. He's not going in with Bakole. Yeah. He wants that bet to come in his way.
Let me tell you.
It's a bit more than a bet. Listen, what has happened here, Barry, I think with Turki Al-Sheikh and Riyadh season coming into play, if you would have asked me before this was happening, would this fight with Bakole happen? Of course not. Like, it commercially doesn't make sense. Anthony Joshua doesn't need to go near that fight. But now what I'm saying is, Riyadh season, Turki Al-Sheikh goes, he wants to make the fights. He wants to. His idea is making the best versus the best, modern eras, modern legacies, like we did back in the day when you had Ali, Fraser, Foreman, Holmes. And that is the point. That if Turki Al-Sheikh says, I want to do a fight in Africa, which he does, by the way, Anthony Joshua Bakole makes sense.
Well, it makes sense, but for Anthony Joshua, who's probably earned in the region of £200 million, why would he want that fight? Why would he want to fight? I know that Turki Al-Sheikh has taken away that issue that, there's not enough money in the pot. That's all gone now. So that those fights that we've always wanted to see can happen. And so now, to a degree, we're taking away, issues. People used to use the issue of money as a way of not wanting to fight a certain fighter. Now, that has all been eliminated.
Do you believe that in the next 12 months that you will see, given the fact we all think that Martin Bakole is the challenge for most people, do you see him being world champion in the next 12 months?
Absolutely, every chance that can happen. Right. If he gets the fight against any of those guys, he can beat them. He is a nightmare for everybody. He takes the fact that you have the ability to take a really good shot. The way to beat
make him work hard.
Dubois is to walk him down, put him under pressure, not get nailed and frozen by his power. But I think he's got more confidence. You got to get him fit. You got to get him in a condition where he can throw punches like that for 12 rounds. Can he do that?
That's the question.
That's the question. And I'm not sure that he can. I'm not sure that he can hold a 6'6", 280-pound Martin Bakole off him. I just don't know that he can do that.
Can Bakole go 12 rounds where he's made to work hard as well?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, he can do it. I mean, I've been up in Airdrie and watched him training with Billy Nelson. And we know Billy exaggerates and that sort of thing. And he's entitled to, because this guy's very special. And, he's a perpetual motion, volume puncher, takes a great shot, walks you down and closes you down and gets the job done.
Look forward to it.